Okay, Chika, we are live.
Awesome. How are you, Scott?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's getting a little chilly here. It snowed.
Snow, what I've heard about that. That's that white stuff that just falls from the sky. Um,
Yeah.
we have that, but it's made by machines up in the mountains here. So it's not quite the same
Yeah.
thing, but yeah, wow, it's so cold. A lot of snow or just a little bit?
Just a little bit, just in the evening, and now it's sunny, so it's really pretty right now here. Yeah. So, how's everything over there in California, Los Angeles, Southern California, Scott?
It is fine. We are uh, I guess it's getting cold here too. It was
Mhm.
in the mid 60s today.
Mhm.
So, we're doing our best to
Yeah.
try to cope with that amazing cold spell. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, actually, it's fine. I mean, I think we wrapped up the teaching at the university today. Now it's
Right.
all about the holidays and catching up on projects that we've been meaning to catch up on.
Right,
All,
right.
all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to the next, I don't know, what month, whatever it
Hmm.
is, something like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's do this holiday thing,
Yeah.
and
Speaking
most
of
importantly,
which,
let's end this 2020 thing once and for all, please.
yeah, let's please. And yeah, and our CD got released exactly 2 months ago. Can you believe that? It's already been 2 months.
You know, this lockdown thing honestly makes time feel really weird.
Mm.
I would have guessed a month, honestly. So I would not have I would not have guessed 2 months. So wow,
Yeah.
that's
And
amazing.
yeah, and I was very excited to see that here in HMV, they're selling our CDs online in Japan.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I'm seeing more and more, places carrying our CD. And
right. Oh, and it makes an excellent holiday shopping gift.
yeah.
It sure does.
Mhm.
We missed last week because Cheek and I had a live event with Kenny G, the smooth jazz saxophonist, which will be archived and available soon. So we'll probably post that to our page
Right. It
when
was so
that's
exciting. We got to open Kenny G's show.
yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's so weird. It's so this virtual sort of thing. And the funny thing is he only lives about 12 minutes from me.
Hmm.
He's over in Calabasas, so he's not far. But yeah, it was fun. There was an interview with them, and then we did our thing. Some Spanish music. Then he did his thing, and that was that. But that was last week. So we're back this week and really excited to be back. Of course, the next
Yeah.
2 weeks are a little bit close to Christmas and New Year's, so we won't be back again until January 6th. And
Mhm.
we'll remind you guys again at the end of this that that's the case. But today is really cool. We're kind of taking a new approach to this. We are going to start inviting interesting guest artists. And they may not always be artists, they may be industry people, they may be, who knows. But today it's very cool. We have Andrew York, who's going to be
Mm.
joining us in just a couple of minutes. Actually, I know
Yeah.
he's ready to go. And what I'd like to encourage everybody to do, we're gonna talk to him for a bit, but please, if you've got questions for Andy, type them in the chat, and we'll pick those and push those on to Andy, and it's your chance to pick his brain or find out what he's doing, whatever you
Right.
like. So
Yeah.
ask
For
those
those of you,
questions, please.
yeah, for those of you who don't know Andrew York, he is a guitar player, obviously, but not only a guitar player, he is a composer and as well as Grammy winning
Yes.
player.
Yes, and I think he spent 25 years with the Los Angeles Guitar Quartet,
Mm.
um, and many years as a solo artist. Um, his music has been played by obviously LEGQ. I was introduced to his music, gosh, I guess when I was a teenager, John Williams was playing a piece called Sunburst, which I, love that piece. And Christopher Parkening playing, I think it was Lullaby, as well as a number of other things. I think Chris recorded a duo of Andy's as well with his duo partner. So yeah, Andy's music is just, what can I say? It's just all over the guitar world, and everybody loves his music, and if you've met him, everybody loves him. So this should be a fun chat.
Yeah. So he's a classical guitar player, correct? But
well, yes, but I think he kind of I think he defies easy categories. He's a great improviser. Really good at jazz. Loves rock. And he incorporates all these things into his music. So he's sort of a Renaissance man of the guitar, and to say he's just classical, he's just so much more than that. And I think that's part of his broad appeal, which he's not that specific. But at the same time, his music is really interesting. You hear a lot of Renaissance sort of polyphony, things like that, brought into a contemporary musical language, and it's just not really like anything anybody else is doing. And I love his music. I've actually recorded 3 of his pieces on my solo records.
Oh, really?
And recorded Lullaby, of course. I recorded Reflections, which is one of my favorite pieces. And I recorded a piece called Scott's Muse. And I know it sounds like it was written for me, but actually it was written for Scott Tennant. And I think Andy gave it to him as a Christmas present one year. Wow. And I was like, I was living next to Scott Tennant in Pasadena. I was like, hey man, can I get a copy of that? And he said, sure. So I learned it and recorded that as well. But Andy's music is phenomenal. Actually, when I played with the guitar trio, we did a version of Reflections where I played the piece and everybody else improvised over it.
Wow.
Which I wish we had a recording of that. I'd play it for Andy, see if he thought, it was worth anything. I think it was. It was pretty cool.
Awesome. So does he improvise as well? Well, I'm sure we'll talk to him, and I would love to hear, what he
sure does. Yeah, he's a great improviser. And tonight, we'd love to talk to him about his, what keeps him inspired, what his process is, things like that. So we'll ask the questions that we want to ask, but again, everybody out there, please put those questions into the chat, and we'll pass them along to Andy.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. And what else were we gonna say before he joins us here? I think don't wait until the Q&A section before, if something is really like on point right at that moment, then we won't wait until the questions from the chat to get to it there. So
we're constantly looking at the comments and back and forth. So feel free to mention any comments or any questions when you have.
Right. Yeah, me and social media, I'm always looking at the comments and pretending not to.
Yeah, and of course, if you're a Japanese speaker, I'll say it in Japanese. But もし日本語でコメントしたりとか質問したりとかしたい方はどうぞコメントに書いてください。
Exactly.
So I just said it in Japanese. If you want to write in Japanese, I can translate that. So go ahead.
All right, Andy's here, so I'm going to go ahead and let him in. There he is.
Hi.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Chika. Hi, Scott.
How are you? Hey, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. This is fun.
Yeah,
already.
Yeah, we've Chika, I think this is maybe the 10th time we've done this, something like that, and
or 9th.
9 or 10, I don't know, but we've certainly talked to each other quite enough. So
okay.
Thank you for coming in. And
yeah, there are no secrets anymore. You need to bring other people into the mix.
It's pretty much the case. So yeah, we're just going to turn it over to you now. So say hello to Andy York,
Hi.
everybody. It's fantastic that he's here joining us. We thought, first thing is, Andy, how you doing? I mean, it's in this horrendous lockdown here in Southern California, and I know you're here in SoCal with me. How are you getting by with the stay at home, or what is it called, safer at home orders?
Yeah. Well, I think like everybody else, just getting your head around it was the first thing, and still is. It's just this ongoing thing. But I'm doing okay, and so is my wife. We're just in a nice location that helps, a home where we feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So we're doing all right, and it looks like you're doing well too. And Chika, you look great. So I think we're all surviving and doing okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is usually the time of year we're bumping into each other at holiday parties.
That's right.
So trying to figure out who's driving home.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll take a rain check on that this year. And,
we're going to have to. It's all 2D interaction, only on flat screens.
Yeah, indeed. The first thing that Chika and I talked about when we started doing this was how do you stay creative in lockdown? Because some people they sort of thrive on having no distractions and solitude. A lot of inspiration comes from something that looks a lot like boredom, and then other people really thrive on traveling and going to new places and interacting with people, and kind of wondering what your experience is creatively from the last, 10 months or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I do miss the travel. I'm very nomadic. I always have been. And so this is the first time I've been in one place for so many months. I mean, like so many musicians that tour. Even though I miss it, I've done it for so many decades that it's interesting now how it's hard to imagine now doing it again, which is rare because usually I was always looking forward to the next adventure, the next time overseas. But now I'm really happy just staying at home. And to get back to your question, it's luckily when I have free time, I have no trouble filling it. I never have. I mean, there's so many things I'd like to do. Mm-hmm. So I've had more time now to do, more writing. And my wife and I have started a subscription teaching service called Andrew's Den. And I have a whole lot of subscribers. We started it right when the pandemic started. We had been shooting videos since January, maybe February. And then by March, the lockdown was happening. We already had dozens of videos. Now we have 130 or something up there.
Good timing on that.
I know, it was amazing. So that a lot of people at home signing up, and that's a real going concern. And since we were making videos for that, we started turning our house into a film studio. We've been making tons of art videos, and that's become a real vibrant project for us creatively. Annie's now just a professional video editor. She's really good. She's watching tutorials constantly, figuring out the ins and outs of this, very subtle and sophisticated ways to use Premiere Pro. And I've been storyboarding and designing these videos that we do, and she's editing them up and writing a lot and publishing more. My publishing's going well because so many people are at home, and doing a lot of coding for my site. I just updated the look of the sales page. It was a 2-day project to recode it. So in other words, for me, it's kind of perfect if I'm not burdened with teaching, like going to school,
right.
Since I'd quit that as well. It's one of the first times in decades that I've actually had time to devote to some of the mini projects, many musical and many not. But so, for me, it's probably one of the most creative times of my life, or at least it's concentrated. I'm able to really spend a lot of time. So I feel really lucky that way.
Right. That's all. Would you say your process has changed, or you just have more time for the same process?
I guess, more time for the same process. Though, I mean, we've expanded into other areas. I didn't used to make videos at this level, but we've become making professional videos, not only for the subscription, but art videos as well, and getting really detailed editing using green screen and in sophisticated ways. It's a blast. We have all this lighting gear. Working with getting things to look like the way we want it and storyboard it out. So that's kind of a new avenue. But that's the way the world is now with YouTube, and just video is so important.
So that was completely new to you, doing all this filming and
right. I mean, Scott, you remember where I lived before? That house, it wasn't really conducive to, you could do, rudimentary filming in there, but where I am now, we can actually, there's so many great locations in the house, and,
Right. Yeah, that's right. I feel like a lot of freelancers are getting nervous because we're all figuring out of necessity the things we used to pay people to do.
Yeah, you don't need to do that anymore.
No, I mean, we're cutting our own hair for the God's sake. I mean, what do we need them? No. Yeah,
that's actually true. I mean,
yeah, we're certainly learning to do a lot of things that other people helped us with before, and video editing, things like that is definitely part of it. That's
and what's amazing is that there are so many resources. You can go to YouTube and learn things, and to check out how to do things on.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you can learn anything you need is right. Can you imagine this pandemic before the internet? Then really you'd be isolated. I mean, deeply isolated. But now, you can connect to everything. You can study anything you want, learn about anything you want, and apply that to your work. It's an amazing time.
Isaac Newton was pretty prolific during the plague, I believe.
I think he had the internet. I think
he think so?
he like somehow had a conduit to the future. He was what a genius that guy was.
But no, you're right. To do this pre-internet, I mean, let alone just not being able to do what we're doing now and see friends and continue to work. What would we have done?
I would have been an unmitigated disaster. I think. Yes, unimaginable, really.
Yeah, well, fortunately, that's not the case. Although we are very sick of Zoom at this point, so it's maybe too much of a good thing. And I think we'll be really awkward when we get back together. Finally, it's like, should we hug or?
I think
is it still 6 feet? I don't know.
We're all going to become more like the Orient, more like Japanese. We'll probably end up bowing or something.
I think so.
To be made for that, right?
Yeah, no, I was never a hugger anyway. I'm cool with bowing or waving politely from a distance. That's all fine with me. I have no problem with
triple
that.
Kiss on the cheek, that's probably gone for now.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. I hate that. I'm like that Seinfeld episode where it's just like I will ruin relationships just because I don't want that.
Did you grow up in the Midwest?
Of course.
Yeah. Everybody I know that did, they're not comfortable hugging.
No. It's a place where we regulate our feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from the East Coast and it wasn't as common there, but not quite as prohibited. I don't know, but it's very natural to me. I'm very much.
I've gotten used to it here in Southern California and music. Where
so the hugging culture is the more of a West Coast thing, you think?
More of a West Coast overall. I mean, definitely the Midwest is excluded. They've never hugs are they're suspicious of that activity. So, but California, it's between men. It was when I moved out here. That was the thing. You see a friend, you hug them. It just became the natural, and you could always tell somebody in the Midwest because their shoulders would go up and their arms would get stiff. Yeah, and they're you hug them, and they're like they don't know what to do.
No, you just go awkwardly on your back. Let me go now, please.
Yeah.
Stand far away from this guy.
Yeah.
No, I've gotten used to it, but yeah, it took me a little while, I got to say. But I'm when especially in Spain, everybody's kissing all the time, and it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I'm off on a tangent now, but I have to mention this. People that I know here who never do that, when you meet them there, expect them to do that to them now. So it's like, I'll know people in California, and I'll run into them in Granada, and now they're doing the kissy thing. But then when we're back here, they drop it, and it's like,
oh right.
Why did the location change the way we greet each other? I don't understand.
When in Rome or when in Granada,
When in Granada, yeah exactly.
Great Rioja. At midnight.
So you've got all this free time. Well, it's not free time. You've got more time not in airports and traveling, so more time at home. What are you preparing? Some future projects? Are you sketching out some new works?
It's kind of a continuation. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just I'm sure everybody would like to know what you're cooking and what they can expect in the coming months, years.
Well, it's been a continuation of just the same things I've done. Writing. I've written more, improvising a lot, and then many times pieces come out of that. Actually, recording regularly at home too, audio, and releasing that on Spotify. So to have a rather continuous stream of product. You know, it is product because the more you get out there and the more it streams. I just did a piece. I've been doing a lot of collaborations, actually. I've done 3 with Uli Burgeshausen. He's a great German steel string player, sweet guy. Met him last summer, and he's really well connected in the streaming world. You know, he knows how Spotify works. And so we've done 3 things together. That's been really, really productive and fruitful. I just a couple weeks ago or less had a piece released, a collaboration with Agustin Amigo. He's a Spanish guy that lives in Switzerland, and he's just all over Spotify. He's on tons of curated playlists and a really wonderful musician. So he came to one of my concerts in Germany when I was there just for the pandemic in the fall before last. And we talked about collaborating. So he wrote his part of a duet, and I took it here at home and wrote my part on top and then recorded it and mixed it and sent it back. So it came out a couple of weeks ago. It's already on 2 major curated playlists on Spotify. This is the thing, recording at home now. I not only make videos, but also record audio regularly. And so every day is just sort of where do I put the focus today? Making a video for Andrew's Den, working on an art video, composing some more, or is it time to record another piece? Publish another piece. I just released 2 days ago 7 poems it's for guitar, solo guitar pieces that are very unusual, they're ethereal and very resonant, in a different language than my normal stuff. Very spacious and hard to describe. So and they are unusual. So I just released that. So it's sort of, there is no free time. You know, every chink of it is just completely filled, but because there's just so many projects juggling, and it's wonderful. You know.
Yeah, and the commute's not so bad.
It's like, from I get up and I walk to my office is about 15 steps. You know.
Yep. That for Southern California folks, that is that's an upgrade for sure.
Yeah. I go out in the garage and look at my Acura and say, "How you doing?" You know, I remember you. You know.
Somebody told me it's bad to have gasoline in your tank for this long. It does something. I don't know.
Probably true. I don't know. I just go and sit in it sometimes. You know, still has the new car smell, even though it's a year old.
For sure. No, I honestly just get in my car and just drive around sometimes just to make sure it still runs.
You got to. We actually we drive up into the mountains and stuff. We went up to Big Bear, which was a waste of time. I don't like that area. I used to live in Idlewild, but Big Bear is just like this narrow strip. I'm sure there'll be some hate mail now from people who live there. I find it a depressing place. But then we drove up the other day to a river here and gathered rocks. It's the heaviest ones we could carry without hurting ourselves, and put them in the back. I have a pickup truck too. We put him in the back and then try not to get caught, because I don't think you're supposed to. But we came and placed them in our garden. So we do go out. We do go out and do things.
Right. Yeah. No, you've got to get out. Walk the walk the dog. Walk the turtle. Walk the cat. Whatever it might be.
Walk something. Yeah.
Walk something. Walk yourself. I don't know, but in Southern California, you can walk your dog, and I'm always like, but can you just walk? I mean, do you have to have a dog to make it legal? And they were very specific. You can go out and walk your dog, and it's like,
oh, I see. Yeah.
What if you don't have a dog? That's not fair.
It's a virtual dog.
Right. You have to dress your cat up like a dog or something like that.
I like that idea. That would piss the cat off. Yeah.
That's true. Well, I don't really like cats very much. I'll get hate mail for that as well.
Yeah, well, I don't either. I'm not a cat person.
Yeah, we've got a new Siberian Husky over here that's keeping us busy.
Oh, that's great. Puppy?
Yeah, we got her. She was 9 months old when we got her. 9 months old. Yeah. So we're a couple of months in now, and she finally stopped destroying everything. So we think that's progress.
Oh yeah. Dog energy is great. It's really wonderful to be around.
It certainly takes the boredom out of the house. Yeah. Zach's got a question. What is your favorite recording? I think he's referring to what you've done. And don't feel obligated to say the duo that you and I recorded together.
That was a good one.
That was a good one, I thought.
I don't know. I mean, right now, because I don't really typically listen to my own stuff, but I just recorded Linus and Lucy, and I don't know if it's released on Spotify yet. Maybe it is. I don't know. We put the video out just last week, I think, and the sound I got is amazing. I don't know. I got to try and recreate it where I put the mics and everything, and the guitar I used. It just sounds like an organ. It's a great piece for it too, in drop D and 3 to F sharp, so it's incredibly resonant. But the sound of it, when you just go to the YouTube video, you can hear it. You go, wow. So, you know, just because it was new and successful, not every time are you just thrilled with the sound. You could do the best you can, you work with it, EQ it, but this one just right out of the box was like, okay, that worked. So I'm trying to recreate that. So that one, for not technical reasons, but just the sumptuous audio quality, I'm really pleased with. Other recordings, I don't know, you know, that's difficult for me. I don't, that's hard. I kind of like a lot of them for a lot of different reasons. You know, I'm aware of the flaws. I know where they are. I've usually edited most of them, and I'm aware of the good parts too. But, you know, I try to make them all as good as I can, you know. Yeah. I don't really have a favorite.
Yeah. It's, I guess that's like asking, like, so, you know, somebody with kids, which child is your favorite? Or, you know, it's
that can often be too easy to answer. He was probably going to do it, you know?
Yeah. No, I can answer that. You know,
well,
that's not awkward.
Frankie, you know, oops. Yeah. That was just an example. I don't have a son. I have a daughter. She's great. So I don't have.
Yeah. I've only got one, so again, it's easy for me too.
Right? Yeah.
You know, he's my favorite and my least favorite simultaneously, because there's just the one. So that's easy. So you do a lot in Japan, and I know Chika is in Japan now.
Right.
So
nice place to be.
Yeah. Where is your favorite place to go in Japan?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, then I can talk about favorite things. I mean, I do love Tokyo. It's just a massive city and so interesting.
Yeah.
The first few times I went, I was, you know, the hotel was in Ginza, and that was exciting. But then starting to have other areas like Kasuga and other spots that were really very interesting. So I've kind of stayed all over. But my ex-manager lives in Hiratsuka, which is near Yokohama, and so I got to know that area pretty well. And of course, we'd tour around. Really interesting as you go to the other areas. I mean, Kyoto, I had some dreamlike experiences there that were just amazing. I mean, it's an incredible place and culture. I love going there. I think I was mentioning to you before, I've been there like 14 times, you know, for touring. And the last one was during the pandemic, which didn't happen in September, with my good friend Dai Kimura. He's a well-known Japanese classical guitarist. And we've done a lot.
How are the classical guitar audience here in Japan?
Oh, fantastic. They're, you know, of course, they're so polite, you know, that you would expect that, but they're also really receptive. They're very, very enthusiastic about music. And I've been lucky that for some reason, my music sort of struck a chord there, no pun intended. You know, it became very popular in Japan, which enabled me to come over again and again. Where are you? Are you in Tokyo right now?
I'm in Kyoto right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
nice.
so pretty right now.
You know, I have a duet called Sanzanin that I wrote after visiting.
Really?
The temple.
So you obviously visited Sanzain then.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That was profound, actually. I really was very moved by that.
I should have read all of Zach's question before, but he was actually asking what your favorite recording software was, since you're recording at home.
Yeah, we didn't answer that at all. Yeah. Okay, let's
sorry about that. I'll read all of the words in the chat from now on. I read the first 4 words and just made up the rest in my head.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about
what
that.
is your favorite? Yeah.
Well, I used to use Pro Tools. I have it right here in an old Mac G5. That's that standard Mac that was used in studios forever because it was so stable with Pro Tools and the versions worked well. So I have that, and if it ever blows up, I'll probably then switch to Logic, just because that's Mac based, and you don't have to worry about these upgrades and updates that don't work for a few systems or whatever.
Yeah,
which used to drive me nuts with Pro Tools. So this one's frozen. The problem is it's old enough where I can't buy plugins for it anymore. Not that I need that many. You know, I have to use only what I've got. But I don't even use that to record anymore. I use that only for editing and mixing. I use the Zoom. You know, I have a Zoom H6N, a 6 input Zoom. and you can record, 24-bit 96K, and it fits in the palm of your hand. And the preamps are actually surprisingly good in there. So I've done all my recording on that for everything audio. I'm using it right now as my interface for this. And then when I record, I dump that into Pro Tools, import it, and then do the mixing and editing there. And so that's what I use.
What microphones do you prefer? Do you change it up?
Well, I don't have a ton, but I have a very good short shotgun mic that I do use for all vocals I'm using now. And sometimes I use that when I add a vocal track, which I do sometimes. I've done some pop stuff during the pandemic too. That's surprising, and use this. Also, I have a collection of large diaphragm Marshall mics, the Mogami edition of things like that I use for guitar and also voice. That's primarily what I use is the Mogamis.
Nice.
V6. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of guitar players are wanting to record more at home, and they have a lot of questions about what the setup is for for pros, and what's also something that you can figure out kind of on your own or with like a little bit of maybe help online without having to go to an audio recording school or something like that. So you don't have a Titan board or anything in your living room.
No, I have nothing. I do all the mixing online. Not online, on Pro Tools. Just using the plugins. I have luckily a very good reverb plugin and EQ plugins, and I have Isotope, which I can do the dithering, and it's pretty sophisticated types of compression.
Right. Yeah. Very, very cool.
One of the main things for recording at home, people have to figure out if they think about it. Like in this room I'm in right now, it's really long, and I've tried recording in here, but just move a foot, and you have these awful standing waves. You hear this low frequencies because the walls are parallel, as most walls are. Luckily, in this house, it has a lot of complex spaces, like walls that jut out, some walls that are angled. In the ceiling, some of the ceilings tilt in a little bit at the edges. All good for sound because it makes a more complex space, and there's a randomization to the reflections, which is what we call nice sound. It's the parallel surfaces that are just death, the ones above and below. So when I record in the den, which is a smaller room, but then I put some more complex space, and I put baffles. I have these sort of Asian, what do you call those things? Like they fold up, and you can put them like these.
The little room dividers?
Yeah, room dividers. I have these around my desk, which is a cool look. That way you don't see the cables. I just carry them in there, and I put them at different angles and tilted so they're all pointing different, and it just scatters the sound around. Maybe there's any hard surfaces I need to just throw a cloth there or a pillow over there, just to baffle it and make the sound bounce around in a complex way. You do that kind of stuff, and you're on the road to getting a great sound. But if you're just in a little room, in your bedroom, your living room, and you throw up a mic and you play and you listen back, and you hear the room and not in a good way. That's why recording studios are never have parallel walls. I mean, essentially, they always build them with angled walls because parallel walls just encourage that kind of standing wave sound. And that's what you get in the house.
A producer we work with bounces back and forth between a couple of different studios, but he was the main guy at Blackbird in Nashville for a while, and they have a room there that has zero parallel. It's like the most. It looks like a Picasso design kind of room, really. This is actually right on point. Renzo Rodriguez wrote in the chat, and I don't know if you're willing to do this, Andy.
Renzo, hi Renzo.
But he said show us Andy's studio. So I don't know if you can spin the.
I'm kind of wired in. I got my Zoom. I got everything plugged in. I mean, this is my studio. It's like everywhere in the house. Except I don't record right where I am, but it's in the den. Renzo, I'm sorry, I can't lift all this up. I have to unplug everything, and then
I thought that might be the case.
I'm not on my iPhone right now, but and right now it's not set up. When it's a film, I'm filming Andrew's Den, then there's lights everywhere, and there's everything's set up for filming. And then when I'm recording, then it's a different. All that's gone and put away, and I have the large mic set up and the baffling up. But right now it's a den. It's where I practice. So it's like, because we're really good at setting up and breaking down. And then the whole house we use as a film studio. We just use areas and we set up the green screen and the lights, whatever idea we have, whatever location we want, or, so we're kind of using the whole house as a stage, a set.
Do you film and put the sound together afterwards, or do you?
Yes. Yes. So I record the audio always with Zoom. Now, some of the videos, the art videos, often I'm finger syncing because some of them actually I did do live. But the problem with that is that, you know, you don't have the freedom to do it again. And I mean, it's harder because if you can record it well and then sync along with, like when I'm really playing, and you can't tell often that I'm finger syncing because I am literally playing it. But that way, my wife can put cameras at multiple angles. Then we can move everything to it, and I'll just tilt the chair or move a little bit, and she'll put the cameras there or up there, and I just finger sync it again, which gives her a huge palette of possible camera angles. That's really hard to get when you're actually recording it live.
Yeah.
You know, so we do it both ways, but usually for art videos, you're finger syncing. And always, we add the audio in separately. You know, just a separate track.
Yeah, you really have to. I've had some people, you know, Chika and I released 3 videos semi recently from Spain, and you know, one we're literally on Pepe Romero's roof in Granada with the Alhambra in the background. Another one, we're on a beach in Mallorca at sunrise. Another one, we're in Girona in Barcelona in front of the big cathedral. And people are like, they're not really playing. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You thought we set up, you know, a bunch of Neumanns and Sennheisers on a beach in Mallorca while a drone spins around us? Somehow we don't pick up drone noise. I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
You have a windscreen this big around the mic. You know.
That's right. I mean, it's just like, no kidding. Wow, you must be a pro to know that.
Yes.
But, it definitely frees you up. If the audio is pre-recorded, then you can do all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, you have to sometimes if you really want to be creative with it.
Yeah.
Because that's an art form. It's a video art. Yeah, right. It's a video art form when you do it that way. It's an art video, and so you have to consider what's going to give the best overall product, the best overall piece of art. You know, which is an interesting video and a great soundtrack that you could devote your time to making the audio just what you want. Then you devote the time with the audio finish. You devote the time making the video just what you want. You mix them together. That's, of course, you really need to do that. Unless you're doing a live video, like then someone in a chair and there's a couple cameras on them and they're clearly playing, and that's cool too. That's, you know, that's another way to do it. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, Scott, years ago you did this one where you played, I think, a quartet with yourself. And that
I actually have 3 brothers. We're quadruplets, and
no, you don't.
No, I don't.
But I was wondering, did you do green screen or how did?
So my friend Tim Tremaine, he lives in Las Vegas. He's a childhood friend, but he has a studio. It's in Southern Highlands, so it's So High Studios, and I flew to Vegas, and I actually recorded the audio with him as well. So it was Paco Bell's Canon, and it was frankly sort of a little publicity thing to sell a guitar ensemble book, and that's one of the pieces in the book. And we got the idea of setting up a green screen, and you know, I would change my clothes, you know, put on different outfits, you know, wear glasses in one, whatever. And then, you know, he's clever enough with the cameras that he actually shot them from 3 different angles. Right. So, and he's got us overlapping. So it's not like those that you see where you have like them side by side, like straight on the whole time. He's got side angles where we're overlapping. I still don't understand how he did all that, but it was pretty impressive. He's the same guy that edited the video of you and I recording the settee at that studio in Venice Beach when we were playing on those fancy French guitars. So he put all that together too. So that's Tim. He's here. Tim just wrote the SMGQ. That's the Scott Morse Guitar Quartet Rocks. So he just wrote that into the. Thank you, Tim, brother. You're doing God's work.
Yeah, Andrew. So, how many cameras do you use, and what kind of cameras do you?
Well, when we're doing the teaching videos, typically 4. We have 2. One's kind of straight on, and then one's just at a bit of an angle, and those are both iPhones because they take the best video. It's incredible. Then we have 2 dedicated older style cameras, which don't look nearly as good, even though they were very expensive from the day, you know, these HD cameras. But we use those more for right hand and left hand from the sides, you know, then Annie, when it's necessary, she'll do the, you know, split screens and stuff and put the different views in. So typically 4. And then when we do art videos, it could be usually maximum of 3 at a time. And if I'm finger syncing, we'll have 3 angles, and then maybe we move them all and get 3 more. So then we have maybe 6 different viewpoints, some from above and things like that. So that's typically the way we do it. But iPhones are the workhorses. They're just they're incredible what you get.
Yeah, and they're 4Ks now, so yeah.
We're not doing 4K. It's just so much data. It slows down everything. Maybe 5 years ago, I wish I'd done that. But, especially for teaching videos, it's like they don't need to be. I mean, they're clear as they can be at 1080p. So I don't know.
Yeah. When you say 4K, I always laugh. Remember the festival up in Monterey, Andy, that we always did?
Yeah.
And there was no place to hang, so we'd just go hang out at Target where they had a Starbucks. And that was like the big hang, was going to Target. And Scott Tennant called me up. He's like, "You got to get over here." And they just put up the 4K televisions, and we just sat there and stared at them for like a half an hour. It's like, whoa, we got to get one of these. It's
they look good.
They look great.
Incredible. I know.
Really, really good. Let's see here. We got a question for you. Marco asks, "Oh, Andy, this is going to be a big one. What one musician had the most influence on you?"
One. There's so many that were deeply influential. That's a difficult one.
Feel free to name as many as you like. You don't have to pick just one. That's impossible.
Yeah, it's and some I don't even know. I would sometimes hear. I'd go to a concert. I remember one moment, just make it super brief, when I guess I was a teenager, and I went to an orchestral concert, and I was early, and I was sitting in the audience. I guess for some reason it was open. You could go sit, and there was almost nobody there yet. And the orchestra was filtering in, and the one trumpet player sat down and was warming up in his chair, and he just played a scale, a very slow scale. And it was one of the most beautiful things I've heard before or since. And to me, I had an epiphany about precision and impeccability and intent on excellence. Just hearing that one scale by this trumpet player, it was illuminating for me. I was already a classical musician. I'd been studying since I was 7, and but just to hear that focus and that beauty and that concentration on tone and quality, it changed everything for me. So that's a musician. I don't even know who that was. But other musicians I have met and worked with or studied with. I mean, Lenny Breau was an incredible influence, a tortured soul, but just an unending reservoir of talent and ability. And I learned so much, the brief time I had with him. Joe Diorio was another jazz player that I did study with. And he was kind of a Renaissance man as a musician. He was just could do anything. He was just so unique. And he is a painter as well. And his music was always coming from somewhere else. He wasn't like a guitar player. He was a fantastic guitar player, but he wasn't like a guitar player. He was like some artist just emerging through the guitar. I admire that. So I learned so much from him. And, there's many musicians on record. I could go on and on and on until you just beg me to shut up. But there's, there even moments I had when I was a boy or a teenager or a young man or an older man, these experiences I've had either just hearing music or meeting a musician or working with a musician that have just been deeply influential. I think, as musicians, we love music, and you always have to remain open and to these experiences because they can direct you and affect you and illuminate you. And so to me, that's a process that's still going on. And it's just sort of, if I wrote them down, it would take. Yeah.
Well, Chika and I were talking about you behind your back before you signed on.
That's appropriate.
I didn't really prepare anything as far as like how to describe your music, but what I've always liked is you can tell that you're into jazz, that you're into rock, that you're into Renaissance music, that you're into, all these different things, and they sort of all come together. Is that the case? Is that jazz and rock and
it's right on the money.
Renaissance polyphony, all of this, it all comes together and this thing, and that steel string finger style like with Sunburst. I blame you for the entire Candy Rat Records movement. With Sunburst.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to just blank. What's his name? The guy that started it.
Andy McKee.
No, before that. Wyndham Hill.
Oh, right. Oh, gosh.
I'm blanking on his name. He started all the tapping, yet he did it in his compositions. He did Aerial Boundaries. Michael Hedges.
Michael
I
Hedges.
could
Yeah.
not pull his name up. So yeah, he was
We-
really the father of the stuff. What a great composer. I mean, he studied composition deeply. He was phenomenal. Anyway, but yes,
Yeah.
I probably helped with Sunburst to confuse and irritate a lot of people with that kind of guitar.
Well, that was on that Windham Hill compilation, wasn't it? Sunburst.
No, that was Andecy. Sunburst
Oh,
wasn't,
okay.
but that was Andecy, which is very much a folkloric piece. It
Mm.
was an improvisation, actually. That
I remember you were on that record, and I think we all had that Windham Hill record.
Yeah, it was actually a really good record back in
It's a
those
great
days.
record, yeah.
And I was never forgiven by the classical community for being part of a new age record that really branded me, which it was just hilarious to me now, but irritating at the time. Now,
Right.
as if their minds could not encompass this multi-stylistic, existence, which is where I live.
And Sunburst is quite popular with the steel string crowd, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it on steel string and recorded it on steel string. So
yeah. Yeah, I think that's part of your broad appeal, and yeah, you were one of the first guitar composers who really I studied classical early on, but played in rock bands and went to GIT and did all this different stuff, and yeah, you and Brower, Bogdanovich, you were the ones that were just sort of this isn't just what I would have thought when I was 15 what classical music was, and really helped expand the audience, expand the appeal. So,
I hope so. I mean, that was important to me because there's always this inherent tension between people that want to keep the status quo. They're usually the ones that are entrenched in playing the repertoire, and they see it as this sacred, logos. This is what we are and what we do, but that's not true. If you exist that way, then you basically cut off the branches of further growth. You can't freeze an art form. If you freeze an art form, you get a dead art form.
That's right.
So that, and they often are skeptical and suspicious of people that play and write in a way that they didn't grow up doing. And that's just a limitation in thinking. And I don't, I understand that's there, but I can't, condone that. So I've always tried to push the boundaries, but not in a way to be avant-garde or to shock. I just do what I like. That's it. End of story. I just, like you said, I love counterpoint. I love Baroque music. I love Renaissance music. I'm entranced with medieval music. I love good rock and roll. All of those things I just blend and try to make interesting structures. That's all I do. And I only write them for me. I have to like them. Nobody else has to like them. And I don't really care if anybody else does. I mean, I'm delighted when people are moved or it influences them in a positive way in their life. Of course, I like that. It's a spiritual thing. But if people don't like it or are indifferent, I don't care. It's not, all I can do is make good stuff. I can't calculate its trajectory at that point. I've had discussions with marketing people. They're like, you can't do that. You have to see your path, take your path and cut away everything else. And I'm like, bull, I'm not going to do it that way. And I refuse. And I've always refused. And I don't, sure. Maybe if I had been very calculating and done that, I would have a success that would be 10 times greater, but I would feel maybe not as good about my output and, keeping the authenticity. But that's just me. I admire fantastic marketers. These people are amazing to me. I know they're wired differently and I admire the ones that are good at it. That's totally great. And I'm not immune to it. I know I have to do a certain level of marketing and, and to be good at business. But really it comes down to the art. I make the art I want to make.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story.
Yeah. You're an artist, not an artisan, trying to just push product.
Yeah. I mean, I like to make money too, but I can only, otherwise I wouldn't do this. I would go into something that could make a lot more money in,
That's right.
I would have, which would have been easy, but I liked music.
Wait, you can make more money? There are other things that make more money?
So I'm told, yeah. And I believe it.
Now you tell me.
Yeah,
I've known you for 20 years. Yeah. Now you tell me.
Well, I didn't act on it. It's just my belief that we could have done other things.
Yeah, but how would that be any fun?
Yeah, it would be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's see. I think we got to all the questions in the chat. You got anything?
Well, Andrew, I also heard that you contribute into like some scientific journals. Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah, I was telling her you're kind of a math genius and a computer whiz.
well, I really like mathematics, and I've written a number of articles. They're on my website, but a couple have been published in journals. But to me, it's a lot like composition, just looking for patterns. I really like to, think about these concepts often when I should be sleeping. It's dark and I have time to then, there's no distraction. So I can think about very complicated things in the dark. And when, that way the phone's not going to ring or nothing's going to happen. So I can just let these ideas, I just find that fascinating. So it just got out of hand and I started really going deep into mathematics. And speaking of the internet, I mean, Khan Academy, you can go on that and study anything. So that was a resource when I first got into this, to study various disciplines in mathematics. You could chew through the different, algebra and calculus and geometry and trigonometry. That guy's great with the videos he's got. So you can just, at your own pace, just go through.
Although I still question your ability to measure walking distance from, say, a car to, say, the front door of, I don't know, like some apartments or something like that.
Yeah, we've definitely had discussions on that little Pythagorean theorem. Right.
This has been going on for about 5 years
That's
now.
An inside joke.
Yeah, sorry, but I can't even remember the details.
That's a good one.
Yeah, indeed. And is it true that because I tell people this, but I only heard it secondhand. I've never asked you about it. That you do encryption programs and that you're good enough at it that you actually had to register with the government. Is that a myth or is that true?
That's true. Yeah, I started actually a company called Code Ring, and I wrote what's considered weapons grade encryption.
Wow.
because it's there's a definition called strong encryption, which it's a real specific meaning. It has to be so difficult to crack that it has the term strong. And I spent a couple of years doing this, and I wrote a suite of products. I use them daily, and my intent was to sell it. And I dealt with the NSA, and I registered it with them. And then I dealt with the BIS, the Bureau of Industry and Standards. That's who you need to get a license to sell it, because in America, it's illegal to sell strong encryption. You can actually be put in jail for it. It's like selling a weapon. So I was trying to get a license, but I don't enjoy bureaucracy. And it was just me. I wrote it. I thought, let me just deal with this. That never got too far. I mean, I did get a provisional license, I thought. Until then, I had a conversation with Lacey. No, read the next sentence. The sentence above said, this hereby grants you a license to sell, post, publish, blah, 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 your encryption, blah, blah. And then the next sentence, in a very confusing and vague way, undermined the previous sentence. So I said, do I have a license or not? She goes, no, because this is just that impressive bureaucratic process where, even what you're reading doesn't make sense. So I didn't ever end up selling it. But yeah, I wrote it. I got all this stuff. And it's, as far as I know, short of quantum computing, it's not crackable. I mean, it's mathematical. I mean, anything's crackable with enough time. But I designed it in a way where probably the universe would begin to run out before you've done even nearly all the options.
Wow.
That's not that hard to do. It's just a matter of making so many possibilities in there. That's why if the key is longer and longer and longer, the probability goes. I mean, not the probability, but statistically it becomes, there's so many more combinations. Like, this is why a password with 2 letters, you'll crack in a second, right? Password with 40 letters, the amount of possible combinations is called a factorial. It's huge, right? So,
right.
In a way, it's just as simple as that, just making it. But beyond that, I made it very convoluted, and I made most encryptions based on 2-dimensional sheets of data that's being like pushed along, shifted, and then varied in various ways with tables. I made it, instead of like 2D, I made it in 3-dimensional blocks that can be rotated and then docked and things like that. So that it's
wow.
with keys that migrate and things like that internally. It's yeah. Anyway, you asked.
Wow,
Yes,
I did
do that, and
I figured it was true, knowing you. That sounded about right.
Yeah, it was an obsession for a while, so I just did it.
Wow, you're a true Renaissance man, Andrew. You really are. And it's not just the polyphony.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's just so much interesting stuff out there. I wish I had another lifetime just to begin to do the things I'm interested in that I haven't had a chance to really look at yet.
Right.
That's what we talked about, having time.
Yeah.
Some people have trouble. They don't know what to do with themselves, but I have the opposite trouble. I know
Right.
just what to do. I just want to have time, anyway, things I'd like to do. Yeah.
That's a beautiful place to be. And, we all love what you're doing. We love your music. We love your recordings. We love what you do for the music world, what you do for the guitar community in particular, but, the music world in general. Can't thank you enough for all of your contributions. And we're looking forward to decades more work, because clearly you're not burned out. Clearly you're not bored. Clearly you're not running out of ideas. You've got tons of stuff coming. We can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And you're going to come back here every week with us now, right?
Every week. Well,
yeah, because it's so much easier with you.
I see my time starting to evaporate now.
Yeah, suddenly you're not as free as you thought you were a minute ago. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, man, for joining us.
Thanks to both of you. This was great. A lot of fun. Nice to meet you, Chika.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
We'll all get together in analog soon enough.
Okay. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, Andy, and
right.
Thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate the invitation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to grabbing a coffee or whatever soon.
All right.
Okay, man.
Guys, take care.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
Yeah, I told
Andy.
you. I told you. You thought when I told you he had to register with the government for encryption software, you kind of looked at me like, really? That sounds like something you might have misunderstood. So I felt like I needed to clear that up, and I was.
He's a very highly intelligent person, and to be doing what he's doing, as a performer is already wonderful, but to compose music and to write all those encryptions and doing so many projects, it's really impressive.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to ask him about because when he mentioned Joe DiOrio, who's a jazz guitar player that we both knew, passed away a number of years ago, taught at USC, taught at Musicians Institute. But when he mentioned Joe was a painter, I meant to follow up with Andy, because Andy paints as well. He's a very enthusiastic painter, and if he hasn't really published a lot of his paintings, but for those who are interested, if you look at the cover art to his piece, his record Centerpiece, that's one of his paintings on the cover there, and it's really, really interesting. So all that stuff he was talking about, and he's a visual artist on top of everything else.
Wow. Yeah, and he has a great wife who supports him with his digital media. So what a wonderful team. Yeah.
Well, it always takes a team, right? And without people supporting you, you can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's definitely true. But yeah, he's most certainly one of my favorite people, and I'm so happy that he was our first guest tonight.
Yeah.
Chika and I are going to be bringing guests in on the regular. Now we're not ready to announce who the next special guest is going to be, but as we said at the top of the hour, it'll be January 6th.
Yeah. So
we do know who it is. Wait, Chika, do we have confirmation yet?
Let's wait until.
I wasn't going to announce, but I'm just Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Joe DiOrio is still around. Sorry, John. I haven't heard from Joe in a long time. My bad. Sorry, I just pronounced Joe DiOrio no longer with us, and that is not the case. So sorry about that. Can you share his media in the comments? If you want to see Andrew York, it's andrewyork.net is his website. So you just go to andrewyork.net, and it's all there. And he wasn't kidding. He actually has on his website a separate menu if you're interested in reading his papers on high level mathematics and things like that. It's all there. So But
fantastic.
Anyway, so I think it was so cool that Andy was the first one to join us. I'm really looking forward to January 6th, and then we'll be back on a weekly schedule after that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This was a lot of fun tonight. And hey, thank you everybody out there
Yeah.
who joined us live. Talking to those of you in the future, those of you who are watching this after tonight. And we know it's a bad time for those of you in Europe, and it's really late on the East Coast and all of that. So, it's just hard to triangulate this thing with Los Angeles and Japan, and it's what can we do? But
We'll
we
archive our videos on YouTube. So if you want to,
yes.
if you missed, some chunks of it, and if you want to go back and check out what we discussed about and talked about with Andy, it'll be on our YouTube link.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We look forward to more conversations with interesting people, and we'll see you all on January 6th.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye everybody.